Think we are live now, but let's wait for another 3 to 4 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Start. Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. On behalf of Center for Peace and Global Studies, I welcome you all to our 20th monthly lecture. As usual, our lecture is being live cast at our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Our Facebook page is www.facebook.com/globalcenterpeace. Our YouTube channel is www.youtube.com/@globalcenterpeace. Our guest today is Mr. Shah Fahad Yousafzai. He will be speaking to us on modern global trends in Islamic finance. Just a quick introduction to Mr. Yousafzai. He is the Deputy Director General Baitul Al-Tamwil Ad-Dawli International Fund House, Turkey. And he is responsible for the Europe, Middle East, and Africa region. He is a PhD scholar in the Islamic finance and banking at the Istanbul's Bahattin Zaim University. His research areas are Islamic fintech, cryptocurrencies, central bank digital currencies, digital transformation of the value-based intermediation, financial structure transformation, and the economic and financial paradigm shifts from an Islamic finance perspective. Mr. Fahad has presented scientific research papers at international conferences and seminars around the globe. In today's session, we shall have about 1 hour of lecture, followed by any questions that you may have. If you want to have any questions, you can either raise your hands or you can write them down in the chat window, and I will speak them, I will read them out to our speaker. Now, without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Fahad to speak to us. Mr. Fahad, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Professor, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before starting, Nahmadu wa nusalli ala Rasulil Kareem. Amma ba'd, fa'auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Am I audible clearly?
Yes, you are.
Okay, so we'll start the proceedings. The topic of today's lecture is modern global trends in Islamic finance. We will try to cover different topics, which is really relevant to today's financial sector. Especially, we will focus on Islamic finance. So the first thing is digital transformation. As we know that the world is rapidly changing, and the financial sector is also adapting different innovative things, and it's demand of the people also to come up with something which is really convenient to them, and also it's a technology based. So there is a public demand. There's also trend of the market to compete with the conventional banking sector. So Islamic banks, Islamic financial institutions are also these days adapting these technological advancements and changes. So the first thing which I'll discuss will be the digital currency and the central bank digital currency. This innovation has been adapted by the developed countries up to some extent, and I'll share with you some information and data. And also then we will see that what the Muslim world is doing, or what kind of initiatives they have taken after the development in the non-Muslim or developed countries. Then the fintech revolution, which is financial technology adaptation in the financial sector. So we will see this also. And then the artificial intelligence in blockchain development. We will talk about this, different other aspects also, and also the digital wallet and the contactless payment or paperless banking of financial transactions. Then one of the issue which is really relevant to today's world, that is sustainability or the climate change and ESG, etc. There is a responsibility on every human being to protect the natural resources and the world which has been given to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what is the responsibility being a Muslim or being a banker under Sharia or under Islam? What is our responsibility? So this is one of the hot topic. And then we will see the UN Sustainable Development Goals in Islamic finance. So we will also talk about this, and I want this to be more interactive, because we will have, I hope we have people from different sectors which will be related to some of the 17 SDGs. There are 16 SDGs and one cooperative aspect of that, those SDGs, how they will work. So maybe we have some people related to one of the SDG among those 16. Then innovative model, the Islamic blended financing or social impact financing. I'll talk about this. And then one of the innovative idea which the Malaysian central bank, Bank Negara, came up with some 3 to 4 years back, or 2018, they have started this, and now it's common everywhere. There is value-based intermediation. Mostly it was in theory for the last 3 4 years. There was some strategic product papers, but the implementation was not that much. But for the last 2 years, some banks are now following it. So I'll cover the value-based intermediation from the Islamic perspective. Going ahead. Professor, this slide is, I think, graphical, so it's not showing here. This is the landscape of the digital currency, but I'll talk about it from my mobile. Okay, this is an overview of the central bank digital currency. So I don't know, the graphs are not showing here. Okay, the global central bank digital currency landscape shows a range of stages of development and adaptation. 11 successful projects have been launched, indicating a significant step towards digital currency, indicating that the emerging trend of one of the trend in the market is that central banks are now working on the digital currencies. 21 projects are currently undergoing pilot programs. So every country, if they are doing something innovative, so the central banks are coming up with the pilot projects. So 21 countries are already piloting the central bank digital currency project. And then okay, so these are in the testing phase. 11 projects are currently undergoing pilot programming, allowing for controlled testing to assess functionality and potential challenges. 33 projects are actively in the development phase, demonstrating a global commitment to exploring and advancing digital currency framework. 33 projects are in development phase. So 21 in pilot phase and 33 in development phase. The research category has the highest number of projects, with 46 in early stage of exploration. 16 projects are inactive, indicating a temporary pause in development. 2 projects have been officially cancelled, indicating a deliberate decision by the authorities. The data highlights the dynamics and nature of the CBDC's projects globally. So this is one of the emerging trend that 21 pilot projects by central banks of different countries are going on, 33 in development phases, and 46 are under research. So it means that 46 countries are researching on this to come up with the central bank digital currency. And if the digital currency will come, it will totally change the landscape of the financial sector. I'll talk about this in detail, because there is a disruption matter that it will disrupt the traditional banking or financial sector, because it's going on for the last almost 300 years, and if something new will come, it will totally change the landscape of the financial sector. Now, some of the pilot projects which you can see on the screen, some countries, they have already come up with the projects. For example, Sweden, they came up with e-krona. So this is one of their digital currency for the retail sector. Then Russia also came up with the digital ruble, which is for the retail and wholesale. Kazakhstan with the digital tenge for the retail sector. Then Turkey also, they came up with the digital Turkish lira for the retail clients. So these are some of the pilot projects. Tunisia, and then Iran, China. China is leading this market. I'll discuss in detail. South Korea is there, Japan, Saudi Arabia, they have their project, and Eber for the wholesale, UAE with the digital dirham for the retail and wholesale, India with the digital rupee for retail and wholesale, then Hong Kong, Thailand, Ghana, Malaysia with the project Dunbar for the wholesale sector, then Singapore, South Africa, and Australia, they also have their own digital currency pilot projects. Now, if we see the innovative initiative in digital currencies, we can see that China is leading the world. The Chinese e-currency or e-yuan project emerges as one of the more advanced initiatives encompassing both retail and wholesale use cases with an intermediated architecture and the utilization of both technologies. So Chinese model is here, leading the world. Then we have the South Korea and Singapore model, then the Japanese and Saudi Arabia model. Saudi Arabia came with the project Abar, which we discussed before, which remain undecided elements in excess of cross-border consideration, but still they are working on it. Then UAE, Ghana, then Thailand, Australia, and different other countries. So these are the overview of the digital currencies, which is now a modern trend in the financial sector. And in 2024, towards the second, third, or fourth quarter, we will see different countries with the digital currency implementation, and also the cross-border trade in digital currencies. It's different from the crypto because crypto has no control and it is scattered. But central bank digital currency is something like it is authorized currency. We will talk about it from the Sharia perspective also, that what kind of issues we are facing and what the scholars are thinking about the digital currency. Now, in digital transformation, there are some implications. I'll talk about it in detail, like the aspect. There are technological advances. Yes, we know that. And there is economic transformation, then new regulatory and risk architecture framework, and then banks accessibility. Excuse me?
Nothing.
Okay. Then the causes, Professor V will focus on this also, because I've talked about it, that the traditional banking system is working since last 300 years. If we see, it started from Amsterdam in 1609, and then there was advancement. Still, the traditional conventional system is based on the papers with no asset on the back, just selling in the air, selling the papers. So, that system is there. We have an alternative system, asset-based system, that is Islamic finance or Islamic financial transactions. But, The disruption, I mean that the traditional finance will face issues because of the technology. And then there will be cyber security, adapting the technological advancement. Definitely, we will have cyber security. And because if we see the financial sector will integrate with the third party as an interface, so there may be a loopholes, not maybe in the banking system. There can be some loopholes, like we can see the frauds, etc. These days also cyber crimes. The cyber hackers, they are entering the banking system also. But if we are integrating with the third party interface, definitely it will be exposed to certain risk, and cyber security is one of the biggest risk. Then legal obstacles, we still are facing the legal issues in the technological adaptation. Apart from the legal perspective, if we see this is very unique phase of the financial world, that the technological advancements are coming ahead of the regulation. So the technology or the services are coming now, and we are thinking about the RegTech or the regulation for these technology-based products and services tomorrow. So we don't have anything like for the traditional financing, for example, we have all the rules and regulations, we have the laws, etc. But if something new is coming, we have the technology, we have the advanced product or service, but we don't have regulation for that with in the financial sectors, especially the central banks, etc. So this is, there is a gap. So how to bridge that gap? We need to have a proper RegTech or regulation for the technology or the advanced any technology adaptation. So we need to think ahead of these things. Or the challenge is that we don't know what is coming, but we have to regulate it. So this is something like a challenging thing, and the world is facing, the financial sector is facing this issue. Then what positive we can take from here? One point here in the causes: consumer protection and data privacy. Through any rapid advancement or going for the technology, we may compromise on the consumer protection or data privacy. Maybe that we will lose some data, or there will be concern from the consumer that my data has not been preserved or not protected. So through cybersecurity also this can happen, that the data protection can be breached, or the consumer will be exposed to risk when their data will be shared. People can use it for any wrong purposes. So that is also one of the concern. Positives are the efficiency and cost reduction. If we see the advancement of the financial technology or adaptation, it can really help in the efficiency. For example, if we have a robot instead of a human being, maybe that is more efficient, and also it will reduce the cost, because for a human being you will pay a cost and you are exposed to so many risks. But if there is a robot, some technology, then it can reduce your cost. So this is also one of the positive. And if you see the central bank digital currency or the digital currency, it may affect the monetary policy also positively. This is what I'm thinking. And one of the positive is that we don't have the RegTech framework, but if we have advanced technologies, then we can have this RegTech, and it will compel the central banks and the authorities to come up with the RegTech framework. Financial inclusion and literacy. For example, if we see in the third world countries, still the people are keeping their money in the pillows or in the at home. They are afraid of the banking sector because they don't have awareness about the financial sector, or nobody explained to them. So the people are still unbanked. Also, in underdeveloped countries like in Pakistan, we have unbanked people who has no relationship with the financial sector. So through technology, as we know that most of the people are using mobiles now, digital mobiles. So if there's some apps in the mobile, we can bring those unbanked people to the banking sector. So this will help in the financial inclusion. So we will bring those people who are not in relationship with the financial sector uh, to the financial sector. We'll bring them, and also we will retrade them through these means, through technology or through mobiles. Then, from Islamic perspective, as we know that Islamic finance is asset backed, and it is they have many things to do to make it Sharia compliant, where there's possession of the asset, availability of the asset, uh, subject matter should be halal in nature, all these things. But if we see from the, you know, let us take the example of the digital currency or the cryptocurrency. So if we see crypto, there is no asset on the back of it. It's only algorithm. So the algorithm is not basically an asset or nothing in nature. It's only the mathematical calculation. So anything based on the mathematical calculation is not acceptable. Uh, any From Islamic perspective, if we see the currency or the digital currency, one of the issue which the scholars or the Islamic finance experts are highlighting is that there is nothing on the back of it. There is only algorithm or mathematical calculation. And the second thing is that there is no legal tender. Legal tender is, most of the scholars is emphasizing on this, especially the Sheikh Karadaghi, or even our Professor Kahaf, Munzir Kahaf, and other professors or Islamic finance experts are focusing or emphasizing on the legal tender. For example, if the currency or any uh, especially the currency, if it has a legal authority from the central bank or any state, then it will be acceptable. But if there is no legal tender or no legal authorization from the central bank or any country or state, then it is not considered as a legal currency. So this is one of the basic issue. If in future there are some digital coins or currencies uh, with the backing of the government, then most likely it will be accepted. Apart from whether there is asset on the back of it or not, because there is a debate that now if we see the existing currency in any country, what asset is on the back of it? So my answer is no, there is no asset on the back of it now, but there is a backing of government. So there is legal tender. So if that is acceptable, this existing currency, why not the digital currency? But with the legal tender or the legal authorization from the country or from the central bank. Then standardization or harmonization. So we are saying that for the technology or for the currencies or any other modern trends, why not standardize it? Like there should be a standardized approach and all the countries should follow that. If not that, then harmonization. Every country should harmonize the trends or the new technology based financial products and services based on their law. So law of the land can help the countries and they can adopt different technologies, financial technologies in the financial sector. Like if we see now, different countries, they have harmonized Islamic banking practices. Like in Malaysia, Malaysia has their own model and they have adopted the model by harmonizing it with the law of the land. In Pakistan, our system is totally different from Malaysia because we are not following their products and services. For example, tawarruk or bal-ina is allowed there, but it's strictly prohibited in Pakistan and some countries in UAE or GCC. So they have harmonized it. In some countries, ijara is not allowed. In some countries, ijara is allowed. So every country has harmonized. It's not necessarily to be standardized. But in new technology, all the countries or all the financial sectors of the countries are exposed to certain risk, and they are, we can say that they are new to this thing because all of them are new to this financial technology or innovation. So at this point of time, they can come up with the same policy, they can standardize it. If not, then every country can harmonize and come up with the solution. And also, some countries can synchronize their uh, their financial sectors. For example, if I give an example of the currencies, for example, some countries are trading in euro, some countries are trading in dollars, some countries they are initiating to trade in the Chinese yuan. So why not? For example, 2-3 countries collecting together, they can come up with the same policy, come up with the digital currency or any other financial technology and work together on that. So it can be synchronized in a sense. Now the blockchain and artificial intelligence and machine learning, these are also the trends in the market, and blockchain can really help the Islamic finance in a sense that there can be transparency, there can be efficiency. So the Islamic finance can also adapt these things, and through artificial intelligence or machine learning, these are significantly transforming various sectors, including the financial sector, particularly in areas like the credit scoring, fraud protection, and customer services automation. So these things are in demand these days, and the countries, the advanced countries or developed countries, they have already adopted many things. But if we see the Muslim countries, Muslim majority countries, there is nothing special regarding these things in the financial sector, but we will see in the near future, because many countries, the underdeveloped countries or the developing countries, they are working on these things with the help of some support from the international organizations or financial sectors. So we hope that in 2024 we will see different AI practices in the financial sector. Then there's digital wallet, contactless payments, or paperless banking. So this is also, uh, the financial sectors, they are coming up with the smart branches or the virtual branches or paperless banking or financials, solutions with through mobile wallet. Like you don't need to carry the plastic cards, etc. And there are kiosk, there are uh, mobile apps. So you can deposit, you can withdraw, you can transfer the money, etc. through the digital wallets and contactless payments. And there are kiosks in different places in different countries. So if you go there, you can deposit there, you can withdraw there. You don't need to go to the bank. This is something like contactless banking or virtual banking. So this model some countries adopted, and many are working on it. But this is future. In future, there may be no physical bank or no employees working in the banking physically, but there will be technology and mobile apps, etc., which will take, which will replace these traditional practices. Also, if you see, um, in one of my research paper, I combined the maqasid al-sharia and the value-based intermediation. And now in the latest article, which will be published soon, inshallah, I tried to combine the value-based intermediation and digital transformation. So that is really trend of the market, and now that is really the future. If we see that Islamic banking these days, if we see, we can observe that it is confined to certain products and Sharia compliance of those products only. But when we think about the value-based intermediation, it is broader in the concept. So it's talk about totality. It's talk about the people's behavior. It's talk about the relationship of the bank with the people. It's not like taking deposit and selling the cars and these things. It's in totality. So it's not only confined to few products and then Sharia compliance of those products, but it is in totality. We will talk about it, especially if we see in Maqasid al-Sharia, protection of wealth. So protection of wealth is any protection of your income or wealth from riba or the interest, and also from other things, like it should not be used in the wrong means or the wrong ways. So protecting your wealth, protecting your money from riba and other wrong things is one of the postulate of the maqasid, the Sharia. And then uh, from the perspective of maqasid Sharia, Islamic finance has a solid foundation, which is truly developed on system of social justice and environmental well-being, which can further establish sustainable value-based economic system. If we talk about the value-based system, it's not like one product or the Sharia compliance of it only. It's the whole system, like complete code of life. It's not only one thing. Islamic banks on this very value-based system can flourish and lead the industry. And these attributes are already existing in our Islamic economic theory. If we see Professor Khurshid's books in the early period as the first generation Islamic economist, we can see all these things in the literature, that all those value-based things are inbuilt in our Islamic economic system. But the problem is that we did not implement those things. Like the modern organization adopting these attributes and transformation can lead to a value-based system that can be trustworthy and sustainable. The Maqasid's guidance can further strengthen this system and make it more reliable and sustainable. So then, if we see in the sustainable development goals of the UN, what they are saying, and then compare it with the Islamic economic system, what we have, then we come up with the solution. For example, let me see, like these are the sustainable development goals: no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water, affordable and clean energy, decent work in economic growth, industry innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequality, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, then climate action, then life below water, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions. 16 standards. The 17 is partnership for these goals. So if we see, there is nothing contradictory to our Islamic thoughts. All of them we can do it from the Islamic perspective, like poverty eradication, or poverty elimination. So through Islamic microfinance, Qard al-Hasan, Zakah, Awqaf, crowdfunding, tokenization, and financing with zero or nominal profit margin can do these things, can reduce the poverty. So, like we have Ukhuwat model in Pakistan, which is the best example. So it can reduce poverty, it can eliminate poverty. So SDGs are saying now, and we have it from 1400 years, but we need to think innovative and come up with the best solution to the world, and we can have a best system based on the keeping in view the value-based intermediation, and we can lead the financial sector. Then like clean energy, so we have green banking initiatives, we have social impact sukuk or social green sukuk or social impact sukuk or green banking. We have all these things already, and practically we are following it, and we have these models. Then decent work in economic growth, industry innovation and infrastructure. So we have Islamic fintech and blockchain transaction now. It reduced inequality. So we have equitable distribution of income, the best solution in our religion for the distribution of income. So we can follow that. And then responsible consumption in production. So if we see, we have the concept of wasatiyya, yani i'tidal, no tabzir, no exaggeration or excess use of things, nor miser. There is a concept in the middle of it. So we have to follow that. So we cannot being responsible people or responsible person. I'll talk about the concept of khalifa and I mean also that being a trustee being a mean in this world. I'll talk about it in the sustainable development in the from the climate change perspective, that how important it is for us to be trustee of these things, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us this opportunity to being a khalifa, to protect the environment, to preserve the resources which has been given to us as a ni'mah, and we should not abuse those resources. So we should give a better world to the next generation from the sustainability perspective. And now Islamic finance will also come into this and help. Then, from the sustainability or ecological footprint and human development index, if we see the developed countries, they are producing many things, and their industries are working, but at the cost of what? At the cost of damaging the environment. So the ecological footprint, they are not taking care of that. Their CO2 emission is way higher than the other countries. So the developed countries should think about it. And then, like if we see in the United Nations, they consider the Human Development Index greater than 0.8 to be very high, and 0.7 is high Human Development Index. So in some underdeveloped countries, we can see the balance there, or in some developing countries, like if we see in Pakistan, we can see the balance, because the production is not that high, and the CO2 emission or other externalities which are affecting the environment adversely, they are not that high. So we can see some balance there. But still, if we see the Human Development Index, the human capacities and their use, then we can see that no, that's not that good. So we should have a balance by reducing the carbon dioxide emission. Now, what is the role of Islamic finance in this? In financing the projects with social impact, and no riba, no harm to the society, zero tolerance to riba, and zero tolerance to the externalities. For example, if any factory which is asking for financing from Islamic banks, so we should consider that what is the CO2 emission, or what is the environmental policy? Are you following that? For example, near the city of Lahore in Pakistan, there are the furnace which are making the bricks. So they are their emission of their contribution of pollution is too much in that society, and we can see there is a lot of smoke or smoke in that area where the density is too high. It's harmful for the society and for the human life. So if those sort of factories are asking for financing from Islamic bank or Islamic financial institution, we should consider that no, your externalities are affecting the environment adversely. We should not finance to you. You should reduce it, because you are affecting the human life, you are affecting the environment. So these are the consideration, and for these things we need proper awareness. Like the Sharia experts in the banks should think about it. There should be a sustainable, ecological based policy, that we should not finance to those factories which are affecting the environment or the human life. For example, it is not allowed to finance the tobacco company or the alcohol company. Same we should consider here that the factories which are affecting the environment adversely, we should not finance to them. So this is the role of Islamic finance. And the climate change, the ESG, and the green banking, these are trend of the market. Other than the technology, these things should be adapted in order to maintain the sustainability or to sustain the environment and also the financial sector. No, if we see there's any, I am proposing the second phase for the financial sector, especially from the Islamic finance perspective. So considering all these things like the technology adaptation, responsible banking, thinking socially, or socially responsible financing, these are the things which should be included and should be part of uh, the new phase. I talked about the realism, which is the doctrine of Professor Munzir, but we should follow this, and then the new phase can be something like based on realism, which is the backbone of the second phase. Trade on the basis of realism. Realism is no riba, no speculation, no gharar, no exploitation. In the second phase, keeping in view the theory of realism, Islamic banks or Islamic financial sector should not go into unreal trade like derivatives. There are many derivatives in the market, and in the developed countries, the derivatives are in billions of dollars, which has no base. So this is something like selling and buying the things in the air. So it has an adverse impact. If we see the subprime loan in the UK, there was one asset, and there was 3 or 4 or 5 times financing against one asset. When it defaulted, and the people, they saw the reality that there was one asset and there was 5 financing or mortgages against that. So this is something like we should avoid. In realism, if there is an asset, there should be a value, and it should be treated like a real thing, not something in the air. The price of the Islamic banking product should be just and competitive in comparison with conventional bank in the same market, rather than charging high. So this is something like based on realism, we should think about these things. Then social respect, development of the society, more care for the people. There should be more public-centric policies with more exposure and transparency of the transactions, more clarity of the products and transaction to the public through awareness will enhance the financial sector's customer base, and retain the existing customers. So it can retain the existing clients, and also it can bring the unbanked people through financial inclusion and awareness, which we talked about earlier. So this system, the new system, should be based on the social respect. The policies should be more social centric or people centric, rather than profit oriented for the shareholders only. So this is one of the concern. Capital market for Islamic financial instruments. Nowadays we can see that there are mixed market. Islamic financial instruments and the other instruments are traded in the same market. So if it is separate, then it will help the financial sector. Then full compliance of the products from the Sharia governance framework, like if we see in Pakistan, still we are facing problems in other countries also, that some products or some services are not fully Sharia compliant. There are many scientific papers on this. I think the Sharia experts in Pakistan had research papers on this, that there are some issues. But in the technology sector, as we say, we are facing the RIC-TIC issues, and then from Islamic perspective, we have issues which are not yet any concluded for example, for the digital currencies and for the cryptos. Still, the scholars are in thinking process, so uh, it should be cleared by now, because the world is adopting different things, and we are lagging behind. Uh, Qualified people in different departments, especially in the Sharia department, to avoid any problematic issues. Financing with the social objective, and Islamic banks or financial sector should give financing with the social objective. The demographic segmentation of the society can help Islamic finance to the low income people or female with small businesses with less profit margin. So if we do this, for example, helping with the low income people, are supporting the women who are entrepreneur with the social objective, that these people will contribute to their families and also the societies, as I have already mentioned the Ukhuwat model. So the Islamic banks should also think about these things. And then in Islamic financial sector, the deposit contract should be for the society, not for the rich only. So it should be um, people centric, not exploitative, like for the big amount or for the big people. Different theory, different approach, and for the low income, different approach. It will increase more disparity. So the contract should be based on justice. Islamic banks or financial sector with their own benchmark, social impact financing like green sukuk, policies and standards to support the climate change initiatives, as we discussed, special initiative to support alternative energy financing like solar energy, biomass energy from waste, etc. So these are trends of the market in the innovative model. We can see all these things, and then Islamic blended financing model. We should bring the social sector and the financial sector together, come up with the solution with the blended model, which can support the society, which can support the people. So the Islamic financial sector or the financial sector can earn, and also it can contribute to the society by avoiding any production house with negative externalities, the adverse with the adverse impact on the society, people, and human life. So we should adopt these things and give a better word to our next generation. This is what we are thinking, that the financial sector or the Islamic financial should be. Uh, so, do we have time, or is?
Yeah, you can spend another slide and we can then start question and answer.
Okay. Okay, so The challenge is now for the financial sector, and especially for Islamic finance, is the it depends on the leadership or the leadership qualities of the people who are on top. So if they have a broader vision, if they think that value-based intermediation or value-based economic system is beneficial for the society, also for the organization, if the leaders are not thinking about earning more money for the shareholders rather than thinking in totality for the whole society, not just for the few products in the Sharia compliance, profitability of the shareholders only. So then they can change this whole landscape, and they can give a message to the middle and lower management, the financial sector, to come up with the policy and adopt that and then implement it. Like the value-based intermediation, we need a strong communication, a strong bond between the shareholders and the top management. If in certain organization we need to follow the Islamic values in totality. For example, I am putting an example, a case studies that yesterday or the day before yesterday, I was reading one of the of the employee, and he was complaining that I was interviewed some 10 times by different HR people of one of the Islamic financial institutions, and at the end, they were discussing with me. Their behavior was not that good, and they were negotiating with me the salary and perks, and maybe they were not good in their negotiation, and they were short tempered. And at the end, after 4 months, I got no from them. So Islamic finance is not only to offer, car financing and home financing. This is also a behavior which the Islamic finance should, take care of. And if we are hurting other people and we are saying that we are Islamic banking, we are offering car financing through Ijara, but we are hurting people. We are, and so when I'm talking in totality, these all things, the behaviors, the attitude, the body language, the gestures, your expressions, your dealings with the people, you are dealing with different sectors in the society, it should be Islamic. Like the AOFI they are using for the implies, they're using tawasaw bil haq. So, it should be something like that. And I've introduced one thing, suggested one thing, that there is a key performance indicator for each employee, and spiritual satisfaction should be one of the indicator. Just ask the employee at the end of the year how spiritually you are satisfied with your job, or whatever you did. Okay, you are working in Islamic financial institution, you have a fatwa that it's halal, everything is okay. What is your behavior with the customer? Did you dodge any customer in the whole year? Are you satisfied that you did not do anything wrong? So if you are spiritually satisfied, then it's okay. This is called, things in totality. So from A to Z, not only 1, 2, or 3 specific things. This is what I mean from the value-based intermediation, the system in totality. Yes, there's some question.
Yes, Jazakumullah khair. I think Muhammad Zishan, could you please unmute yourself?
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for such a great session, sir. I have just asked one question. Sir, if you are a Pakistani, may I ask you the question in the Urdu?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
That's fine. Thank you very much, sir. बेसिकली मैं ये पूछना चाहता था कि सर जैसे हम इस्लाम की बात करते हैं ना, और इस्लाम को प्रमोट करने की भी इसमें इस्लामिक फाइनेंस के अंदर बात करते हैं कि इस्लाम को प्रमोट करने की भी चीज है। बेसिकली हम किस तरीके से जो है कि कहते हैं जो कमर्शियलिज्म है उसके ऊपर अपनी ये बात रख सकते हैं कि आज जो है कि कहते हैं इस्लामिक बैंकिंग जो है वो आज की जरूरत है। मसलन लेट्स सपोज मैं एक बात कहता हूँ कि हम एक अमूमी तौर पे हमारे जितने भी जो लोग हमसे पूछते हैं वो यही कहते हैं कि यार इस्लामिक बैंकिंग में भी वही इंटरेस्ट यूज हो रहा होता है जो इंटरेस्ट जो है कि कहते हैं वो कन्वेंशनल बैंकिंग में है। तो इसको तो ये एक ऐसी बात है कि उलमा ने या मौलवियों ने जो है जस्ट इसको हलाल किया हुआ है। मतलब ये एक बड़ा क्रिटिकल सा एक बात आ जाती है। हम उनको बताते भी हैं कि ये हमारे ऊपर नहीं है, हम तो बस फॉलो करने वाले हैं, फतवा ले रहे हैं। बट अगेंस्ट दैट वो कहते हैं फिर फायदा तो कोई नहीं ना कि अगर आप वही चीज जो है वो यहाँ पे भी इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं। तो पूछना यह था कि हम कैसे इसको सरप्रेस करें कि वी आर डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द अदर्स, मींस हम कन्वेंशनल बैंकिंग से एक अलग हैं या बेहतर हैं हम उनसे।
जी बहुत अच्छा क्वेश्चन, थैंक यू वेरी मच, बहुत शुक्रिया। Islamic finance, if you see the basis of it, it's different from conventional banking in many aspects. What I am focusing on is the social impact, which is really differentiating us from the capitalist approach. For example, I said in my presentation also that if we are thinking that we are also, only a profit generating institution, we are just increasing the profit of the shareholders and we are not thinking about other things, then what is the difference between us and any conventional bank in the West based on the capitalist approach, accumulating profit at the cost of other people, not thinking about anything? Like I talk in one of the emerging trend is the climate change or the sustainability and circular economy and all these things. What the West is contributing, the West is producing at the cost of their environment and environment of the world. They are producing a lot of carbon and other externalities which are affecting the environment or the human beings in their lives. What is our responsibility? We should think differently from them. We should come up with the policies not to finance those projects which are harmful for the people. Like I put an example of the Lahore city. There are, Into ki bhatti. So there are furnace for the bricks formation or making. Those furnaces or those factories are producing a lot of carbon dioxide and they are affecting the people negatively. So our responsibility is to see from Islamic finance perspective that somebody is coming for financing to those projects, we can evaluate that your company or your factory is producing negative things. We should not finance to you, because this world is a ni'mah. There are natural resources, and we are the vicegerents or the Khalifa of Allah on this world, and we are Amin, trustees, Amanatdar. We should be trustee. Being a trustee, we should protect the environment. We should protect the natural resources. If we are abusing that just because to earn profit or just to increase the profitability of the shareholders and just tell them that, okay, I earn a lot of profit for you, but at the cost of what? The mentality is a problem. Even in Pakistan, unfortunately, we are still lacking these things. So my opinion is that we should come up with this sort of model which is socially linked, and it should enhance the social and economic life of the human being. It should uplift the social life of the human being. It shouldn't be like a conventional or the traditional system that I have big property, I have collateral, I have mortgage, so I'll get finance. What about the layman who needs financing? What about the men who is selling the tomatoes on the cart? Can we finance to them? No, because he has no collateral. This is a vicious model. And in Islamic Bank of Thailand, we came up with the model of microfinance. There were some 3,600 masajid, or the mosque in different vicinities. In majority of the mosque, we made a committees of 5 people. The imam of the masjid was the head of that committee. And we had a poverty scorecard, and the imam of that committee was recommending, based on the committee's approval, some people for financing the poor people who were selling the meatballs, or like you can say in Pakistan, some samosas or pakoda or some sort of stuff in the market. So they were recommending it based on the credibility of that person. And one of the indicator was that this guy is coming at least 3 times a day to the mosque. He is not smoking, he is not any fraudster, etc. And we are recommending him for financing. And every bank has this, special fund, like in Islamic banks, we have charity fund, we have a margin of the fund which we can use for the zero financing or very minimum financing, then high rate of financing. So we use the charity fund for the poor people. We use the murabaha transaction with the very minimum margin of profit for the for the people with the hand cart or meatball selling or samosa selling. So after 5 years, there was no default, and those people were then become, they were entrepreneur after 5 years. They were established and they had their own businesses. Like the widows, they had, we financed to them the saving machines, etc. And after 2-3 years, they were, they had 50 machines and they were working as an entrepreneur. So it is something like responsibility, taking responsibility. If there's Islamic banking or Islamic financial institution, we should work for the profit, also for the social and economic prosperity or uplifting of the people, not thinking just like conventional banking. So आपका concern बिल्कुल ठीक है, और the Islamic financial institutions, majority of them, they are thinking for the profit making. Maybe some of them are thinking social uplifting of the people, but we need to bring this mentality, and that's why I said that we need leadership in the Islamic banking sector to think about these things. If no leadership with the broader sense or broader approach, then it can create issues, and it will be like this. Profit is increasing by 20 billion this year, this quarter this billion, this quarter this billion. We will just calculate the profit for the shareholders, nothing else.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, Prof. It's a very wonderful session that we are listening to. So I'm very fond of your approach of social impact, and I'm thinking of actually my area is actually Islamic management, more in line with what you have been talking all about. So that's what I take from you. Now, I have 2 questions. Now, Prof, are you listening?
Yes.
Who is there? Who is
My
there?
name is Dr. Ashraf Al Haq from Malaysia.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, the thing is that your approach is more of how we see is more understanding the social impact side. Now, I'm actually not a finance lover, so I'm actually more of believe in. I'm against this fractional reserve system actually. So I'm more a proponent of 100% reserve, so that unnecessary liquidity creation and inflation and interest I'm not in fond of. Now, as you have mentioned that this digital drive that you have said from beginning, don't you think this will have more money creation, and it will be more inflationary, and there will be more gap between the society and the impact that you are saying it will be far achievable? So this is my question number one. And question number two, as you are an expert in finance, I would like to know, because you have touched on China as well, like Western media is always saying bad about that Chinese financial status at the moment. But I'm sorry, so I don't know. I just want to know. West always project China is something losing and things, but what is actual reality? So these are my two questions. And number three, that I've said that I would like to have your email address. We can discuss, because one of my paper is actually on this, the social impact. So if we can do more research on this, that would be nice. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doctor. The first question was on the technology, that how it is affecting the financial sector, something like that. I think.
Yeah, he was saying that the overuse of technology is gonna further widen the gap between the poor and the rich.
Okay. Principally, you are right, but if you think that it's a separate system, a newly separate system, that yes, it's something like it will take time and it will increase. The gap will be more, and we need a lot of time for the awareness and to penetrate in the market. But I'm thinking that the existing financial system gradually transforming their practices or their products and services and offerings. So through this, we have a margin to do it gradually, and gradually working on the awareness, and then financial inclusion and many things. But my opinion is that if we link it with the existing financial system, and making it possible to bring change within the system, not creating a separate entity or separate system which is totally technology based. Sorry, excuse me. So I'm not talking about that separate models. So in the financial sector, if we make changes, we need to have, take all these things in place and gradually come up with the solution one by one, making awareness and bringing the unbanked people to the banking sector, gradually. So it is not like, next day we are coming up with the technological based model and nobody is aware of it, and then we are practicing it. But in the existing financial system, if we do it gradually, transforming the existing system one by one, then it can work. Okay.
Yeah.
Second question was about the Chinese model. There are it's a history that, you know, if somebody in your city is making a overhead bridge, the people around that area, they will demonstrate that, you know, it's affecting us, it's damaging our property, it's something like that, and that. For example, if any innovative thing is coming, this is a human nature that they will be opposing it. The Chinese model, we can see one thing that, you know, what they are contributing to their own people. If that is contributing and the people's social and economic life is uplifting, and I've heard that they brought, you know, out 50 million, or it's a huge number, I don't remember, that they bring those people, you know, bring those people from the poverty line to the middle class or something. So that is a huge contribution for a country. So, and the second thing is that, you know, if you go to any market in the world, you can see the Chinese products. So they are, you know, enhancing the financial capabilities, and they are uplifting the social and economic life of their own people, and they are also producing things for the whole world. So these two indicators are enough for them to be the best model. And apart from that, you know, there are many issues, many political problems with countries, but they are good for their own people. And the Chinese are making a lot of things. And if you can see all the big brands in the world, they have their production houses there. So I think that is enough for them. And if somebody is talking from some special perspective, it's up to them. But what we can see is a neutral, you know, student of economics, they are progressing well. You know, one of my friend, I asked them a similar sort of question, that how the Chinese are, you know, progressing. And they said that, you know, if we have a factory and some village or countryside, so the researcher or the research and development people are going to the nearby university and taking the research papers or the thesis from the shelves of the library and reading it, that what are the research thing, or what are the research and development, and what these fresh minds are thinking, and then they are working on it. I don't know, I heard a story, I don't know if it's true or not, but you know, that guy told me that once the research and development head went to the university and the library, and he searched about it, that the Muslims in the subcontinent, what kind of things they are using more and regularly. So then, you know, in the research paper, it was written that they are praying 5 times a day, and they are using some sheets for the prayers. They are using caps, and they are also, you know, using tasbih. So they said, oh, these are good things. He brought this idea. They made the prayer sheets, they made the caps, and they made the tasbih. And the whole world, you see, all these products are Chinese made. So, you know, they are well connected with the universities or academics. So the industry is connected with the academics. So if this is the model, you know, nobody can beat it, and the world should follow it. Believe me, if we follow it in Pakistan, we can do wonders. And also they have another concept. I work in Thailand for 6 years, 5 years. I saw there, and we had a product also support this. One village, one product. Every village as a specialty. For example, if you go to my hometown, the people are making, the embroidery by hand. In the same embroidery, the West, the French or the other brands, they are buying it in 1,000 Pakistani rupees and selling there on 5,000 euro. Why not locally we are doing this? So one village, one product. If we subsidize this, the government give financing to these villages. Like there's one hometown, Mr. Brother Ehsan will tell you, Professor. There's a town in Sawat which are making the chadar, the sheet, handmade. The name of the village is Islampura or Islampur. There is nobody poor in that village. Everybody is wealthy and they are selling their products to the market. So if we support these sort of things, like in Thailand or China, etc., the countries, the underdeveloping countries or developing countries, they can do wonders. These are small things, but nobody is thinking about it. Like the combination of industry and academia, who is thinking about it? The people with the vision, they've already adopted, and you can see tasbih and prayer sheets and the caps from China only.
Yep. And yeah, we have one question in the chat. I think it's been largely answered, but I can read it out. If you're from Pakistan, then you must understand the role of regulatory bodies in developing the society's education about adoption of the steps you just said. Like you mentioned, brick making factories, their owners are illiterate and it's their family business. Have they been approached to educate them the adoption of technologies that can reduce the emission of CO2? I'm working. Yeah, this is another comment that he said that I'm working in private sector, which works on commercialism. Now, employees have their KPIs for maximization of the sales, our company's business. So how do you see the regulators would act in this scenario?
Okay, the first question about those furnace. Yeah, we believe that those people are not educated people. They don't have any awareness. They are just producing those things for the last 20-30 years. But this is the responsibility of the government authorities, either to give them an alternative machinery, not to produce any harmful things or the pollution, etc., or carbon dioxide, or give them something like subsidize that to give them something like the filters or something which can reduce or decrease that carbon dioxide emission. But it depends on the government and their intention and their policies and regulation. For example, if I go there and I try to convince them, being an individual, they will not listen to me. If listen to me, they will not implement it. But if there is some regulatory authority with certain authority to tell them that you have to stop this, or you have to get the machine with the subsidized price from the government or the government financial institutions, and transform this old method, traditional method, to the new one, which is more sustainable and more profitable, and also is more convenient, and then good for the environment and the human life. So this any government can do, or any NGO which has a good budget for these things, they can also do it. But still, a proper regulation and regulation implementation with authority is needed to convince those people, not just taking the risk from them by stopping them not to working, but there are alternatives to give them technology, or the existing system made some changes to reduce the pollution, etc. The second question was the okay, the commercial aspect. Yes, commercial. I asked one of my teacher, the Sharia scholar, that what should be the qualities or the like the embedded qualities in a product. Is it only the Sharia compliance that I can convince people, or there's something else? He said that pricing is it first. So nothing is you cannot exclude commercialism. Yes, it's okay. Islam also does not teach us that do transaction with, like we are calling tawliya or wadiya. Tawliya is you are buying on $100, selling on $100, not earning anything, or buying on $100, selling it on 95 wadiya with the reduced price, with discounted price. No, we have a profit. We can earn profit on our assets, but it should not be exploitative. So commercialism, in a sense, is not prohibited, but it should not be exploitative. And if the policy of the organization is only commercialism at the cost of other things, no, you should convince your management that, sir, don't do this. We have some non-financial aspects also. The financial aspect is there. We respect it, and we are working for it. You have a target, we have a target, we will achieve that, but at the cost, not at the cost of the environment, not at the cost of the people. When I'm talking about Islamic finance in totality, for example, pressurizing staff, or you can torturing them mentally, calling them at night, calling them after working hours, use the abusive words, sending them nasty emails. Is it Sharia compliant? So I am selling a product which has no riba, but I am doing every other thing wrong. So it's a social cycle. We should follow each and everything. I'm praying 5 a days, but I have a bad relationship with my neighbors, or I'm abusing people on the way. I'm fighting with them. So 5 times a day is okay, but what about other things? So if I'm talking in totality, the policies should also be like this. Not only the financial things, but on the non-financial aspects, we should also talk. One of my paper, on the value-based intermediation, I have discussed these things in detail. So you can see that. But the policy should be inclusive of all, not picking a special thing which is benefiting me, but the rest I'm throwing it. Like I remember that in our university life, one of the juice shop, they have written one hadith mubarak that keep the area clean, or cleanliness is part of the faith. So he used that because the people were throwing the things, the guys were throwing things there, and he used that just for his benefit. But his own shop, his own things were not clear. He was doing so many bad things, mixing water, etc. So he picked the thing from Islam which benefit them. The rest he did not follow. So in totality, when I'm talking, totality means all things, inclusivity.
Jazakumullah khair. Come to the end of our time, but I still had one question from my side. You
Yes,
probably
sir.
know that I come from a background in artificial intelligence. So
Oh,
I I had this question of realism that you mentioned, that we should follow realism. But when we talk about artificial intelligence, it's all artificial. The algorithm is not real. The data is, not real. But, there was a time when even land had no real value. I mean, gold had always been of real value, but land has now become of real value and has a commercial aspect to it. Um, but what if data had no real value at one time, and now it has become not just very valuable, but also very powerful? And similarly, the concept of intellectual property that, has been criticized a lot in among by Muslim scholars as well, that it's not real, it's just intellectual. So why should it have any commercial value? So shall we one day be able to realize that, okay, now algorithm and data are also valuable things, and we might allow these things? I know that the answer to this question is not going to be long, but I just want your quick opinion in 2 to 3 minutes.
thank you, Professor. You are opening new horizons for research. So these are, very interesting things. And nowadays, many intellectuals are talking about it. It should be considered like I think the NFTs, something like
Yeah.
the virtual things, or the metaverse. How to Islamize those things, or from Islamic perspective. There are many people working on it. Well, when Professor Munzir is talking about realism, so he is talking about the financial matters, in a sense that there should be an asset with the value, and asset which can generate value. So you can sell out those things with the proper possession. So the possession can either be constructive or physical, but and then there is ownership, proper transfer of the ownership. So that is, what is realism, that there should be no gharar, or there should any gharar mean uncertainty. There shouldn't be any problem in the ownership, and the subject matter should exist, something like that. But the artificial intelligence, it's a reality. Professor, I'm thinking that, why we are slow. If in the history, if we see, for example, we did not accept the typewriter 600 years back. In the latest form is laptop or touch mobile. So we are lacking in that because we did not accept the change 600 years back. That's why the West is making that. Now the world is coming for the cryptos and digital currencies, and when we still, I believe we don't have a concrete uh, resolution by any authority, either the fiqh academies or the scholars. They did not come with clear approach. So the world will practice it, and after 50 years we will come up with the solution that yes, it is halal. And then Where will be the world, and how can you catch them? This is the problem in the history we have, and we are not accepting the changes. We are not accepting the technology and
Yes,
technological
well,
advancements.
I think this is the problem of over conservatism in our.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So, yeah,
Jazakumullah khair. I think we are already 6 minutes past our time, and I thank you very much for your time. Your lecture was not just informational, but it was also spiritual. And
thank you.
I must thank you all the participants. I can see multinational community here today, and lots of people have their names with starting with doctor. So I believe they're all very knowledgeable people, and I thank you them for their time and their continuous support for by attending our lectures. Inshallah, every month, the last weekend, we hold our lectures online, and they're all recorded on our pages and channels. And please do share them with others for their benefits. And we'll come back with you for another interesting